Before we start this chapter, the measuring the cost of living. This chapter is a kind of a follow-up to what we talked in the previous chapter. In the previous chapter, we look at the GDP deflator, which essentially removed inflation from the production measurement. You must go back to the chapter measuring a nation's income to be able to understand the content of this chapter well. Now, we are going to look at something slightly different but somewhat related to inflation. That is the Consumer Price Index. That will be symbolized by the CPI. So, whenever you will hear this, the CPI, you will know it means Consumer Price Index. CPI measures inflation through the economy, but in a slightly different way than the GDP deflator does. We are going to say what the thing called the Consumer Price Index. How is it calculated? What's it used for? What are the problems with it? How do they affect how we view inflation measurement? How does it differ from GDP deflator? Also, we are going to look at the ability to use the CPI to compare dollar amount from different years. This will help you put a lot of good information into contact, understanding how inflation affects the price of things over time. Finally, we are going to look at how we correct interest rates for inflation. That's what we call real and nominal interest rates. We are going to look at all of these things related to inflation. Let's start with this measurement called the Consumer Price Index, also called the CPI, and this measures the typical consumer cost of living, so it's not a measure of everything. First step, we calculate it by fixing a basket of goods. So a basket of goods is determined by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. We ask consumers that the typical things that they would buy. So they would determine what would go in this basket and then put those goods that are found in the basket. In real life, the typical consumer basket contains hundreds of things, from clothes, food, transportation, and medical care. But as we mentioned in the previous semester, we are, as an economist, take examples that are simplified because of difficulty or the impossibility of taking real data from the reality of life. So we will give an easy example of the fixed basket in this chapter. Second, they say the price for those goods that are found in the basket. They collect data on the prices of the good in the basket. Third, for those goods that are found in the basket, they calculate the whole cost of that basket. They compare the cost of the total of the items in the basket. So, for the past year and for each year that they are comparing it to, they are going to use the basket as the sources of all the past information. The basket is going to stay consistent. So, the number of items will remain the same. What will change, of course, is the price of these items that the CPI looks for those price change. Fourth, once they have gathered all this information and found the value of the basket, they are going to choose a past year and compute the index. What is the difference or the ratio between the basket in the past year and the cost of the basket in the current year that we want to make the comparison for? The formula you see here is the CPI in any year equals the ratio between the cost of the basket in the current year divided by the cost of the basket in the past year, then multiplies by 100. In the last step, we will use the information we got from the CPI, from number 4, to calculate the inflation rate. It is similar to how we used in GDP deflator numbers to calculate the rate of the change between them, we do the same thing here. So the inflation rate is the change in the index from one year to the next. We can do that using the same formula was used before, which is new year minus old year divided by old year, then multiplies by 100. For a better understanding for how the CPI is calculated, we will solve the next exercise using the previous steps and apply all of them step by step. To solve this exercise, we will start from the first step, that was to fix the basket. You can see here in the exercise, the fixed basket is given, and they are 4 pizzas and 10 lattes. Second step is to find the price. You can see it is also given in the exercise for each year. In 2007, the price of pizza was $10 and the latte was $2. In 2008, the price of pizza was $11 and the latte was $2.50. In 2009, the price of pizza was $12 and the latte was $3. It is clear that the price for the second step is already given in the exercise and will be given in every exercise you will take. Third step will be to calculate the cost of the basket. For the year 2007, it will be 4 for the pizza multiplied by the price $10 plus the 10 of lattes multiplied by the 2 of price. It will be equal $60. So the cost of basket for 2007 will be $60. We will do the same for the year 2008. So the cost of the basket for 2008 will be $69. And for the year 2009, the cost of the basket will be $78. You can note that the basket remained the same for all years in this exercise, but it may change from year to year in another exercise, which means that you may find a different fixed basket for each year. The fourth step is to find the CPI for each year. If you can go back to the formula, which was the cost of the basket in the current year divided by the cost of the basket in the past year multiplies by 100. Note here that the past year should be given in the exercise. The formula for the CPI simply is the cost of the basket in a current year divided by a cost of the basket in the past year. So to find the CPI for the year 2007, we will apply the formula. So it will be the cost of the basket of the year 2007, which is here 60, divided by the cost of the basket of the past year, which at the same time is the past year. So it will be 60 divided by 60 multiplied by 100 equal 100. The CPI for the year 2008 will be the cost of the basket, which is 69 divided by the cost of the basket in the past year, which is here 60. So the formula will be 69 divided by 60 multiplied by 100. It will be equal 115. So the CPI for the year 2009 will be like that. The cost of the basket for that year, which is 78, divide by the cost of the basket for the past year, which is here 60. So it will be 78 divided by 60 multiply 100 to be equal 130. So the CPI for the year 2007 is 100 and the CPI for the year 2008 is 115. The CPI for a year 2009 is 130. Finally, we will find the inflation rate. Because the inflation rate is the rate of change in prices between 2 years. The first rate of inflation here will be calculated by finding the rate of change between 2007 and 2008. By going back to the formula, which was the CPI for this year minus the CPI for the last year, divide by the CPI for the last year, multiply 100. So to find the inflation rate for the year 2008, it will be the CPI for this year, which is 115, minus the CPI for the last year, which is 100, divide by the CPI for the last year, which is 102. Multiply 100 will be equal 15%. So we will understand here the inflation rate between 2007 and 2008 is 15%. This means that the general level of prices increased in 2008 by 15% compared to 2007. To find the inflation rate for the year 2009, the CPI for this year, which is 130, minus the CPI for the last year, which is 115, divide by the CPI for the last year, which is 115, multiply 100, it will be equal 13, which means the inflation rate between 2008 and 2009 is 13%. This means that the general level of prices increased in 2009 by 30% compared to 2008. Here is a great opportunity to do some more practice using all steps previously explained. Try to find the following two requirements on your own. You can note that the first step, which is fixing the basket, already given. So the fixed basket here is 10 kilos of beef and 20 kilos of chicken. The prices for the second step are also given in the exercise for the beef and the chicken for the 3 different years. The base year that will be used to find the cost of basket is given too. You are required here to find A, to compute the CPI in 2005, B, to find the inflation rate from 2006 to 2007. You can pause this video until you are done with this exercise and then compare your answer. In the case that you are not able to answer correctly this exercise, don't worry, because we will create a group in one of the social media to answer any question related to the curriculum. What is in the CPI basket? This is going to be an important thing to understand later on when we are talking about differences between CPI and GDP deflator. In the CPI basket, we go to individuals and they do a survey of what the typical things that the household buys. What we will find in this basket is going to be mainly housing, which is around 43% of it. You are going to find food and beverage, which is pretty significant portion of it, and transportation. You can note here that the three previous things are one of the most important things in the basket. Then some other things such as medical care, decoration, education and communication, and apparel. Keep in mind that what's in the CPI basket is pretty different because it is mainly the things that consumers most often buy. It's not going to be like GDP because GDP is everything that's produced. CPI is focused on the typical consumer's purchase. And let's go to another practice here. Because there is a problem with the CPI measurement, it's called substitution base. What often happens is when we say the price of things going up, remember this from earlier in the course, we have the substitution effect to the change in the quantity demand. When we see the price of something go up and we have a substitute available, we will often buy the less expensive substitutes instead. In the CPI measuring option, the basket remains the same over the years. However, economics teach us that as price of things go up, if there is a valuable substitute, we are going to switch our quantity demand to the less expensive substitute. The CPI doesn't measure that switch. One of the problems with the CPI is that it doesn't reveal the space we have toward the less expensive goods. So let's imagine that in 2005 and 2002, in 2004 and 2005, the household purchased the CPI basket, and you can see the price of beef is $4 and the price of chicken is $4 too in 2004. In 2005, the price of beef and chicken, they have both go up, but they are both $5. However, 2006, you can see that price went up significantly for beef and only a little bit for chicken. So in 2006, we can assume that the consumer lower the quantity that they purchase of beef and switch their quantity demand to chicken, a less expensive substitute. So in 2006, let's assume the quantities purchased have changed. What they want to do in this practice is compare the cost of the 2006 household basket and then find the percent increase in the cost of the household basket over 2005 and 2006 and compare that to the CPI inflation rate. The differences between this exercise and the previous exercise is that we had in the previous exercise one fixed basket for all years, but in this exercise we have two fixed baskets, one for the year 2004 and 2005 and another fixed basket for 2006. Try to do this exercise by yourself. You can pause this video until you are done with the exercise and then compare your answer with the answer in the PowerPoint. As we mentioned in the previous exercise, there is some problems with the CPI measurement. One of them is the substitution base. Over time, some prices raise faster than others. So consumer substitute towards goods that become relatively cheaper. So the CPI misses this substitution because it uses a fixed basket of goods. Thus, the CPI offsets increase in the cost of living. Another problem with the CPI is introduction of new goods. The introduction of new goods increase variety, allows consumers to find products that more closely meet their needs. When there are better alternatives that enter the market, consumers turn to them, which makes the dollars more valuable. The CPI misses this effect because it uses a fixed basket of goods and don't care with new things that have entered the market. Thus, the CPI offsets increase in the cost of living. The other problem with the CPI is unmeasured quality change. Improvements in the quality of goods in the basket increase the value of each dollar. The Bureau of Labor Statistics tries to account for quality change, but probably miss some, as quality is hard to measure. Thus, the CPI offsets increase in the cost of living. With the problem with the CPI, each of these problems cases the CPI to offset cost of living increase. The Bureau of Labor Statistics has made technical adjustment, but the CPI probably still offsets inflation by about 0.5% per year. This is important because Social Security payments and many contracts have a cost of living adjustment tied to the CPI.